Hi, this is Amy from Board Game Blitz, and today I'm going to talk about the games that I played in November of this year. I tracked my plays using the app BG Stats, which links to Board Game Geek, and I had 47 plays of 22 different games, each of which were new to me, but there were also a few games that I played that I haven't played in a while that were some highlights of the month. So that was cool. Let's get to the highlights. So first, let's quickly talk about the review copies I got. I finished Adrift, a Puzzletale, which is a a puzzle game from Post Curious. I've talked about them before. They've given me multiple review copies, and I will talk about this on the podcast coming out soon. I also played the Kringle Caper on stream from Holiday Hijinks, and I talked about it. I briefly mentioned it on the podcast. That's an 18-card escape room themed around Christmas. And for kids games, I played Little Alchemists, which I think I might have mentioned last time, and also Spotlight is a new one. And both of those I will be making overview videos of in the future. But Little Alchemist is like a campaign-style deduction game for kids that keeps adding rules. And Spotlight is a cooperative hidden picture game where you're finding and counting a bunch of characters. And another new kids game that we got is My First Adventure, The Odyssey of the Phobos. I've talked about the My First Adventure series a lot here. It's my kids' most played games, the books. But this was a review copy I got from Fable Fox Press, which is publishing them in the US. So now they're available in the US, which is exciting. I also talked about it on the podcast, and I did a playthrough video of it. So you can check those out. All right, so some highlights of non-review copies. I got to try the Mandalorian Adventures. My friend brought it over. This is a storybook game. It's cooperative, but I think semi-cooperative. I think there's a traitor in later episodes, but I played the first 2 chapters, which was fully cooperative. There's a book with the board in the book. You move around on the board that's drawn on the book. And this is themed around the Mandalorian, which I've watched. If you haven't watched it, it kind of might not make sense, the story part, because there's a little comic that doesn't really make much sense if you haven't seen the show. But basically you have different objectives each chapter, and then you're playing cards in order to do actions. So each player has a hand of cards, and you can play them down. The cards have numbers and then special abilities. But there's 4 or 5 different actions you can do. And you play the card to a certain action to do that, and it can do the number strength of that action. You can move 4 if you play a 4, or you can attack for 4 or something. But the cards also can have special abilities. If you play this as an attack card, it can do this bonus. But then at the end of the turn, you look at each of the actions and you add up the numbers, the total numbers that have been played there. And if it's exactly 5, then the enemies will have a turn. And if it's 6 or more, then also a crisis happens. So you kind of want it to always be exactly 5 and then it resets. But if it's under 5, it doesn't reset yet. So that kind of makes you not necessarily want to do certain actions unless you have the right card to do the actions. But then you also want to do the actions in order to progress in the game. So I thought that was interesting, and we enjoyed our plays. And then Toby and I played Time Stories, which is a game that we hadn't played since 2016, but this was a campaign game themed around time travel. You're traveling to different places and putting out these cards that go into panoramic view, and then you're going to the different locations, reading what happens, and then you have to roll dice to see what happens and to attack people and stuff. But we played the Brotherhood of the Coast, which is one of the expansions. There was a whole campaign, and there's one more game in the campaign that we haven't played yet, and we've heard bad things about the whole meta story between the campaign, but I don't remember a lot of it since it's been so long since we played it. But we enjoyed the Brotherhood of the Coast. That was pirate themed. I remember with Time Stories was annoying, having to repeat the loops because you had to go to the same places again and get the same items and stuff. But in this one, we got to keep some of the items between loops, and it was kind of fun. We had a ship to sail around different areas, and we can buy things. And I enjoyed the theme of this one, so that was fun. And it was also the first time I played it 2-player. We also play kind of cheating, where if we went somewhere, we can kind of just look at it. And technically by the rules, you're not supposed to show other people the locations. You have to talk about it. But we just showed each other because it was faster that way and more enjoyable for us. And then I played a lot of games with my kids, as usual. But one new to them game, or new to all of us game, that they really enjoyed, and I also enjoyed, was Unlock Kids detective stories, and then also Unlock Kids stories from the past. So my friend let us borrow a bunch of Unlock Kids games, and Unlock is a series of escape room games. Well, I've played a lot of them. They come in a deck of cards with different pictures, and in the adult version, there's numbers and you're adding up numbers and trying to get to different other cards, and there's also an app. But in the kids version, there is no app. There's a deck of cards. There's no words in the pictures other than the intro card, which I can read to them, and then they can do the rest on their own. But I've kind of been moderating for them and asking leading questions, because the game is technically for ages 6+, but my kids are 5. But basically in each box, there's 6 different scenarios. There's 3 different locations, and each one has 2 mini escape rooms in it that take around 20 to 30 minutes each. And so they can find different cards, and then they combine certain items. There's items too with cards, and they can combine items with cards or cards with cards to unlock other cards, basically, and progress in the story. They've been really enjoying it, both of them. So one of my kids is more into board games and one is less into board games, but both of them have been playing together. And the one that's less into board games doesn't really understand the mechanics as well of like matching the symbols and then finding the card that matches with that. But my one who is into board games is able to do that part on his own. And so then the other one, when I like can help ask questions like, oh, what do you think we need to do here? And then the other one is like able to answer those questions and be like, oh, maybe we should do this because of this. So it's been really cool playing. And I like it too, because I don't know the answers. So I can like kind of play along with them or like think what I would do and then let them do it. So yeah, I've been enjoying Unlock Kids. Another highlight is a game I played with my kids that isn't new to me, but is new to them. It's Flashpoint Fire Rescue. This is an old cooperative game themed around firefighting. So everyone plays as firefighters and you're going into a house and trying to put out fires and save the victims from the building. You have 4 actions on your turn. You can go in, you can put out fires, move, put out fires, carry people, open doors, stuff like that. The game has a family mode and a experience mode. I'd always played the experience mode before with adults, but I played the family mode with my kids. And I also didn't actually tell them about all the actions because there's also a chop action where you chop down the wall. And I figured that might be a little too complicated for them right now. But I told them like, okay, I had to remind them every turn, like you can move, you can put out a fire, like what do you want to do? And then I would tell them how many actions they have left too. So they were able to play kind of like I was helping a lot with the actual actions, but they had fun. We played half of a game, or like part of a game. We rescued 3 people, I think. And if you rescue 7 people, you win. But I think we had put out a lot of the fire, and so that was cool. One of my kids, the one who doesn't play board games as much, actually asked to play it because he knew we had a firefighting game, and he was dressed up as a firefighter that day, and he's like, can we play the firefighter board game? I'm like, okay, sure. So both of my kids actually dressed up as firefighters when we played it. And when they put out fires, they would take their dress-up hose that they made out of paper or like a rope, and they go, shh. So that was fun getting into the theme of the game too. All right, so those were my highlights from November. Let me know what your highlights were in the comments below. And now it's December, so if you're doing those 10 by 10 challenges, hope you're getting done with that. And if you do finish, remember we have a shirt that says that you completed the 10 by 10 challenge, so you can check that out on our merch store. You could also check out our other merch as well. But hope you have a good holiday season and get to play lots of games in December. Thanks for watching Board Game Blitz. Bye.